All right, we are live. Barstool Units, episode 45. I'm Coach Duds. With me, as always, Frank the Tank Fleming. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing fine. I just got back. I got the my booster shot this morning.
Nice. All right, so you got the booster. Now you can't get COVID.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm test. I still testing negative. It seems like I'm the only one that's really testing negative.
Yeah, it's amazing that so I have an issue where like I have bad sinuses and everything. So moving up here and the temperature change, when it's a drastic temperature change, my eustachian tubes just shut off and it can't drain. And so everywhere I go, people think I have COVID because I have a horrible cough and and I have to tell them like, no, it's allergies, it's sinuses. Like I've tested negative. I feel like a leper walking around people. A lady on the subway, and I don't blame them at all, but a lady on the subway the other day literally scooted over a whole seat because I coughed. Like I had my mask on and everything. She's like, she wasn't playing. But that's just living in the big city, right, Frank?
Living in the big city. We're just 1 week away from Christmas now. Finishing up, I'm getting out my Christmas cards. I've been working on that today. Hopefully, I'll get them all out tomorrow. Got to get my packages out and wrapped tonight. So a busy day as always. Bowls are beginning. The Devils are just horrendous.
It's so much worse than that. I admit a couple of times in the past week, I've said to myself, "Oh no, have I picked the wrong team?"
It's not been good.
It hasn't been good, but those have been personal. That's my personal thoughts, and I've overcome those. I'm a Jersey boy. I'm here for Jersey. I'm a Devils fan. That is decided. I may still question it from time to time, but outwardly, this conversation never happened, and I'm a diehard Devils fan for life for the past couple months.
I mean, yesterday, Gertson was jumped by two players from the Vegas Golden Knights. The Devils basically looked like they were literally afraid to fight.
Yeah, that was sad. As a Jersey guy, as somebody from Jersey who lives in Jersey, to see one of the Jersey Devils get double teamed, and his teammates were just kind of like, "I guess this is happening."
And then Robin Lanier gives. I thought it was Jack Hughes that he gave a shot to the chops. It might have been Ball.
I think it was Ball, but it didn't matter though.
Yeah, and Mackenzie Blackwood is just just standing there I mean, when in hockey, when a goalie takes a shot like that, the other goalie comes down, and it's on like Donkey Kong. Yeah. But Mackenzie Blackwood basically just backed down. As did the rest of the Devils.
The way he was out, he was down the ice. He was looking from a distance. It almost looked like he was just like an innocent bystander. He was like waiting for somebody to call the police. Like he wanted no part of that action, and that's troublesome. That's like I lose 100-0, and I'll be like, I don't know how that happens. But to not stick up for your teammates, especially when the opposing goalie is going after him, I can't condone that. I can't condone
that. Was just an embarrassing. It's just been embarrassing. They actually got a power play goal yesterday. Glory, hallelujah, and they got a shorthanded goal too.
Yeah,
but their power play is just pathetic.
Yeah. Well, I will say those goals came after multiple chances to fire the power play coach.
Yeah.
So, but hey, all we want is improvement, right? Like we said, beginning of the season, you were looking for 90 points. I think they're still on track for that, but you still want to see forward movement. You still want to see progress.
I've seen regress.
Yeah.
I haven't seen progress. I've seen regress, and that's what's pissing me off. Right now, the Devils are 28 games into the season, so that's more than one quarter, almost a third of the season. They're at 25 points. That's right on pace for about 75 points.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's a little
25?
under a dirt. It's a little under a dirt. So
Okay,
maybe we're
all right.
looking at 80 points right now at
Okay.
best. They're on pace for about 80 points. That is terrible.
That's if they keep performing the same way they are.
Yeah, well, they've won 2 of their last 13 games, so
And
they've
both
lost 4 straight. They've lost 4 straight. They're horrendous in shootouts. They're horrendous on the power play. The only thing that's keeping them out of last place is the Islanders. Just season got fucked up.
Yeah.
And the only team that's worse than the only teams that are worse are the Senators, who are just bad, and of course the Devils lost to the Senators.
Yeah.
The Canadiens, and the Devils basically have the same record as the Seattle Kraken expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
And the only team that's worse than everybody is the Arizona Coyotes.
The NHL Coyotes.
Yeah, who are just a team that's just a total clusterfuck right now. I mean, they might be getting evicted soon.
Yeah, that was I saw that where I think it was either the president or the owner came out and said it was like a clerical error that they hadn't paid their rent in like 6 months. That's a heck of an error. Like even if I don't know, even if you miss 1 or 2 payments, you would think. I mean, I imagine they're paying a good chunk of change in rent. You would think somebody would be like, "Hey, this doesn't look right our books." But
my favorite part is Gary Bettman, who has scratched and clawed to keep that team in Arizona, says there's no way they're moving.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he might literally be the only person who believes in hockey in Arizona.
Yeah. And so, I mean, well, they're definitely moving somewhere because their current venue does not want them. Their current venue has said that they are not re-signing their lease.
Yeah.
So they're moving somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly just don't know what. And there are places that want teams. Houston wants a team. Quebec wants a second team. Wants to get it. Wants to bring back the Nordiques. Milwaukee, Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And Arizona, and the big mistake they made was putting the team out in Glendale, which is like not close to Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close enough for the for football, where you're going to drive out and tailgate for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's one Sunday every couple weeks in the fall.
Yeah, but going out there on a Tuesday night is not convenient.
I honestly, I mean, going to Newark on a Tuesday night, the traffic sometimes is not that convenient. I can't imagine the trip out there.
Oh, yes. I mean, Newark can be convenient if you're close enough and you do play it the right way, but it's 20 minutes from us.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The traffic can sometimes be a little much, but it's not that bad. But like we said, you just want to see progress, which I am seeing progress from the Jaguars, which, I mean, that was. Who knows what they're going to do? Who knows who they're going to get? With Shad Khan as the owner, you don't know. But we are moving on from Urban, so that's a good sign.
I think if the Jaguars had a Lombardi Trophy, he would have put it to the back of his truck and drove it around.
Yeah, well, because he's a winner, and winners can do what they want. I've said it before, and I tweeted out last night or yesterday. There is a valuable lesson for people to learn with what just happened to Urban Meyer. You can be an asshole, or you can be a loser. You cannot be both and expect people to put up with it. If he was winning games, listen, if the Jaguars were even in the hunt to get to the playoffs this year, and it came out that he kicked Lambeau or his little ordeal in Cleveland or Ohio, it would have been a bad thing for sure. It would have been talked about, but people would have put up with it.
I mean, it just everything just kept coming and coming and coming. Treating players bad, players walking out, players thinking about quitting. I mean, it was just, and the last 2 weeks they just lost ugly football games. Didn't even not even competitive.
No.
I mean, this move had to be made, and once the Lambeau story came out, the Josh Lambeau story, I mean, it almost sounds like a Seinfeld routine. You
Yeah.
kicked the kicker, I kicked the kicker. How hard did you kick the kicker? I kicked the kicker. Did you punt the punter? I didn't punt the punter, but I kicked the kicker. I mean,
It's
who does that?
and part of me when because we were on the subway when that story came out. Part of me thought, well, if this isn't it, like if this doesn't happen, then he's just going to go. Like he'll be here next season. But I think it's clear that he had to be fired at that time for at least for contract reasons. I think if Shad Khan would have held on to him even till the end of the season and then tried to not pay him later on, it would have seemed okay. Well, no, him kicking Josh Lambeau clearly wasn't a detriment to your franchise because you still kept him on. I think
Now,
right then, I think now Shad Khan has an excuse not to pay him the rest of the contract.
I don't know. Now, is Shah Khan really going to try that? Because I honestly think he should. If he did, that he should not be paid.
On one hand, you say Shad Khan is worth like a net worth of like $7 billion, probably more than $7 billion. And so what's 50 million? At the same time, there's a reason Shad Khan's worth $7 billion. He's not just going to let $50 million walk out the door. He's a businessman, and so I don't see Urban Meyer getting paid, and I don't see Urban Meyer even going through litigation again. I was only pre-law at FSU, but I don't see Urban Meyer even trying to fight this.
I don't think he has a leg to stand on. I mean, if Shad Khan wants to be nice, he could give him like a $10 million package and have him just walk out the door, get him out of the hair, so there isn't even a lawsuit.
Yeah.
But if it goes to a lawsuit, I don't see how Urban Meyer wins.
No, he was a detriment to the franchise. He was a detriment to the NFL.
He belittled he belittled his coaching staff. He engaged in let's say questionable behavior in that bar. I know it's consenting adults.
Unbecoming of a public figure. Yeah.
And he physically assaulted a player.
And that's where, again, I think that's where Shad Khan had to fire him at that time, because if he would have let Urban Meyer stay there, then Urban Meyer might say, hey, like clearly all of my actions weren't a problem because you let me stay until the end of the season.
Yeah, once that news broke,
yeah,
there was nothing more the Jaguars could do. They could not keep him.
Yeah, but we're on the right. Well, I was about to say we're on the right track. We're not on the same track we were, and so I don't know if we're on the right track yet. We'll find out when. Makes
I don't know if you're on. I don't know if you're on the right track now, but you're definitely off the track. That's like.
Exactly.
You've how do I say this?
Stop the bleeding.
You stop the bleeding. You put out the dumpster fire.
Yeah, there may we may start another one at the beginning of next season, but this dumpster fire has been put out. And my source in Jacksonville said that all the players were. I think the words they used were super happy. Like it was almost as if it was like a celebration, like if everybody has like that bad manager that they have to deal with. If you've ever been on a team in a company and the bad manager, gets fired or gets transferred and the team just comes together and celebrates and just like it's a happy momentous occasion. That's pretty much what they said the locker room was like yesterday.
Now the weird thing is they chose to fire him like at around 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it was. I don't know the idea that wouldn't have waited until the next morning. I was well asleep, but I think you texted me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Urban's gone.
Yeah, I was getting ready for bed and I just saw breaking news: Urban Meyer fired.
Yeah, that's wild. But so like
Yeah, it's not the weirdest firing though that's ever happened time wise.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
what's weirder than that one?
2008, June of 2008, the Mets, after their 2007 collapse, were hovering around 500 most of the season. In June, they were just underachieving, playing just like just a terrible brand of baseball. They're like 2 games below 500, not playing well. As I like the collapse carried over. So they were getting ready for a West Coast trip, and the rumors were that Willie Randolph was going to be fired. Willie Randolph goes up over to the team manager, the general manager, and says, "Are you going to fire me? If so, do it now. I don't want to go on the West Coast trip."
Yeah,
So they fly to California. They play a game against the Angels. West Coast game ends at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they released the press statement that Willie Randolph had been fired at 3:30 in the morning and didn't even answer any questions. Just dropped it. It's 3:30 in the morning. Willie Randolph's been fired. Jerry Manuel's taken over, and Willie Randolph basically had to they gave like a coach ticket to fly home.
the sons of bitches. I can't imagine that. That's pretty much tarback firing.
I mean, at least the decision had been made. They just didn't want to face the press, so they dropped it at 3:30 in the morning.
After they flew him out to the West Coast.
Yes.
Pathetic. Well, I'm just like we said. This dumpster fire is out. With Shad Khan, you never know. He'll probably start a new one next season. I don't know. Again, Urban was a terrible hire. It's not even an I told you so, because I'm pretty sure at least half the population said he's not going to be here after a year if he loses. No, I don't think anyone expected this, but they didn't expect him to be here over a year. But the least, or the common denominator in all of this is Shad Khan.
There's certain coaches in college that just don't translate to the NFL. 40 years ago, almost 50 years ago now, the New York Jets hired Lou Holtz. Now, Lou Holtz wasn't Lou Holtz yet. He wasn't the Notre Dame guy. He had coached Arkansas. He was a good coach. Everyone liked him in college. But he came to the Jets in 1976. He wrote a fight song to the Caissons are marching along, and it was the Jets are marching along. And he wanted the Jets at the end of every meeting in practice to sing that song. He wanted professional players, to sing this fight song.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone just looking around, and Joe Namath was basically was done at that point. That basically ended his tenure with the Jets.
Yeah.
He ended up playing 1 year at the Rams. It was almost like all the Jets look around and go, "What is this clown doing?"
Like you're in an all-boys high school or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the NFL. So Pete Carroll obviously has made a great transition from college to the NFL.
But remember this, he was in the NFL first. It went NFL, college, NFL.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there a college coach that did not have an NFL background or history that has moved to the NFL and been successful?
There's been a couple. Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
Paul Brown, actually, who's more known as an NFL coach. I mean, that was a lifetime ago, different sport back then.
Yeah.
But he actually coached Ohio State.
Okay.
Before Woody Hayes, and what it was with him was when he got the Browns job, it was a startup rival league in the All-American Football Conference. They gave him part ownership of the team and said that we'll even name the team after you.
Yeah, that's a heck of an offer.
And he's probably one of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah.
I mean, people talk about coaching trees. Paul Brown's coaching tree is a coaching forest.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a tough thing to say no to if someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna have the Jacksonville Dugs." Like, all right, I'm in. I'm in.
I mean, it just, but even in the NBA, there's not many the college basketball coaches that translate well to the NBA.
Yeah,
One I remember is Jerry Tarkanian. I mean, this guy won a national championship for Nevada, Las Vegas. He was a UNLV coach, had the gambling connections, so the heat got kind of hot for him in the NCAA. UNLV got put on probation for a year, couldn't go to any postseason tournaments, and he left to go coach the Spurs. And it was like 6 weeks into the season, he says, "No, this isn't for me. I'm out." And ended up going and coaching like Fresno State like a few years later.
see, now that's somebody I can appreciate. Nope, this isn't for me. I'm out.
Yeah, it was just like I think I don't even know if he made it to 20 games. It was like he just said that this isn't for me.
Yeah, and hey, that's the case a lot of times, and it's fair. It's fair to like it's fair to back down or get out of a situation when you know it's not the right situation.
I mean, if Urban Meyer would have like 8 games into the season said, this isn't for me, when he started like blaming his assistant coaches, like nothing was his fault. There was no accountability.
None at all. None at all. And he said on multiple occasions he had no idea who was even on the field. He said, "I don't micromanage. I don't micromanage who's playing. I don't micromanage who's on the field." Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing here? There was no accountability. I will say this, and this is something I actually appreciated about him when the whole situation went down with the blonde lady in the bar. When he was at the next media day for the Jaguars, he apologized for what he did becoming a distraction. He did not apologize for what he did. He was not sorry that he was with some young lady in a bar in Ohio instead of with his in Jacksonville or with his wife. He was sorry that it became a distraction. That's hilarious. I can appreciate that. But as far as everything else goes, he held no accountability whatsoever. And it's the same. It's the same issue I have with Shad Khan. Shad Khan wants to be the GM. He doesn't want to be the GM. He hired a coach without, or in a different GM. I don't know if he knows how to be an NFL owner.
He should just get a football guy, make him the GM, president, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Stand out of the way, write the checks.
Yeah.
Daniel Snyder's for 30 years now, almost now, has been 25, 26 years has been doing that in Washington, and that's been a problem.
Yeah. I can't. So something happened recently. I saw Nate and PFT both tweeted about it. I guess the Washington football team was like contacting ex-employees and basically like threatening them like not to be involved in the NFL investigation.
Oh boy. I have a prediction. How the John Gruden stuff came out?
Mm-hmm.
And then the NFL says that, we investigate this and we see that there's nothing else that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I tweeted out the Will Ferrell going, "I don't believe you.
I don't believe you." Yep.
I think something's going to get kicked up, uncovered, and I predict it's not only going to take down Daniel Snyder, it's going to take down Roger Goodell.
Bingo. Because if it has to be something that impacts not just Daniel Snyder. It has to be something that is institutional where Roger Goodell would also be involved.
And John Gruden has filed a lawsuit based on the leaks. Not being fired, he's faced it on the leaks, saying that the leaks had a personal agenda against him.
Mm-hmm.
And there are going to be more emails released when this lawsuit goes through.
Yeah.
And that's going to expose a lot of people.
I think, like you mentioned earlier, it's kicking a can down the road. It's trying to save their butt now, and it's only going to end up in a bigger issue later on. But we'll see. So that is a Frank the Tank prediction that Roger Goodell is going down. What do you say in the next year?
It might take 2-3 years.
2 to 3 years.
But
All right.
when this Daniel Snyder, when the shit hits the fan, that the NFL seems to be like, just like, no, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here, everybody. Nothing to see here. Oops, I knocked out one of my ornaments. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see.
Yeah. Moving on.
Defer your attention.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that it has to be something. Even if it's not something that Roger Goodell did, it has to be something at least that
his cover up
exactly
will get the media against him.
Exactly. It has to be something that he knew about and allowed, or at least did not, stop.
Yeah.
Which for certain things is just as bad.
Yeah.
People forget Martha Stewart did not go to prison for insider trading. She went to prison because she lied to the FBI.
Yep. By the way, she's from she's a neighbor of ours.
Is she? Is she a Jersey gal?
She's from Nutley.
Really? Those Nutley girls, I tell you what. Yeah, I tell you what. Well, Frank, I'm in the kitchen now. We still got. Well, we're my roommate O'Malley, and we're just a couple of floors above you, but we're still waiting on that 2-bedroom to open up. So we'll be in different buildings, hopefully in a month or so.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be in Jersey. I'm excited to be close to the light rail. It's easy commute and everything. But you and Jersey Jerry and I, we got it. We're hitting dinner sooner or later. We got to go. Just us Jersey guys, just us Jersey boys.
We got to start. We got to start doing that. Finding different spots, different eateries. Just to have fun nights on the town. Of course, we're not only. We're going to try to call it the Jersey Boys. We're actually right in the heart of Jersey Boy country. We're on the road that Tommy DeVito mentions in to play Jersey play in the movie Jersey Boys.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. The champion Jersey Jerry. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff, but it's just the sports are crazy right now with the Devils. FSU lost their number 1 recruit, and Twitter Spaces.
And FSU lost their number 1 recruit, and the Seminoles fan base lost their mind.
They went crazy. There's a good amount that understand what happened, but the Twitter Spaces that took place, the Fire Mike Norvell Twitter Space. I guess Twitter Spaces are a thing again. It might be a blip or something because that space did so well. There was like 7,000 people in that space at one point, but those people were crazy. They literally at one point they said, "Good for the kid, good for Travis Hunter. He's going to be making bank based off of I don't know what. I know some pardon my take burner account. Put their handle as Adam Schafter and tweeted out that this kid's going to make $1.5 million on a Barstool NIL deal. Meanwhile, there's video of Deion Sanders the day before telling Big Cat and Dave that he's going to shock the world, and they clearly don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, so there's all these people who assume this kid's getting Barstool money and say, "Oh, I would have taken the money as well," and then they immediately follow that up with, "How could Norvell let this happen?" What
somehow Deion Sanders reached that kid on some sort of level, and that's why he left.
And good for him. Good for him. It's just the idea that is Mike Norvell's fault. As I tweeted it, I said, "This is a story about Deion Sanders flipping the number 1 recruit from a major school to an FCS school. It's not on Mike Norvell. If he was committed to Alabama or Georgia or any other major college program, and Deion flipped him, it would not have been on that coach. It's on Deion for being the recruiter he is." And there's fire Mike Norvell for different reasons. After the Jacksonville State loss, I was ready to fire him. I said I would have been fine with that. But to fire him because Deion flipped him and going off of nothing, thinking that Barstool somehow paying him millions of dollars. The idea that Barstool would pay $1.5 million to some high school kid because he's going to play under Deion at Jackson State. I mean, they're not even giving Little Sass a raise after. He's been doing Son of a Boy podcast. If they're not going to give Little Sass a raise, they're not going to give this kid $1.5 million.
And this was Deion Sanders, and I think Deion Sanders will not be in Jackson State this time next year.
Well, and that's a whole other ordeal. Then does Travis Hunter then go with him?
He might. I think what this was Deion Sanders going to everyone. I can recruit.
Yeah.
And this is going to get him a FBS job.
Yeah. He is who we thought he was.
I mean,
FSU should have hired him a couple years ago.
This is Deion Sanders, and I actually think that's where he wants to go. I think he wants the Florida State job.
You think? This got brought up a couple days ago when all this went down. I don't know if FSU has the nerve. I mean, they just gave Mike Norvell an extension. They said it was because recruits were questioning his, whether he was going to still be there in a couple of years. So the extension didn't even mean anything because he already had 4 years left. But FSU just extended Mike Norvell. I don't know if FSU has the nerve to even go ask Deion if he would want to come to FSU.
But this is all caused by Jimbo Fisher. Yeah.
Yes, it is his fault. It is Jimbo's fault. Although Jimbo got paid $75 million, so I can't blame him either.
I mean, they made a bad hire on Willie Taggart.
Yes.
And it's just been just snowballing since then. Meanwhile, you got the SEC has turned into the Audrey 2.
They're a mega conference.
Yeah, they're the Audrey 2. And you don't get that reference, and some people might. The plant from Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay, gotcha. I've seen the movie, but I have. It's been a while.
That basically the SEC has become that monster.
Yeah.
And I know for sure, I hate Michigan. I don't like Michigan at all. Obviously, I want Cincinnati to win the national championship, but I don't know if they have a realistic chance.
Mm-hmm.
America needs Michigan to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
At least.
And,
So we don't have an all SEC national championship game, for one. Two, we need either Georgia. We need either Michigan or Cincinnati to win that national championship. The SEC has become a monster. They're not a conference anymore. They're a monster. Yeah. I now will, after I watched Georgia play their worst football game of the year against Alabama, and just I'm not saying something untoward happened, but it's something. The game smelt.
Yeah,
the game it smelt rotten, and they only dropped to 3. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 SEC schools says, "Look, we'll play 75%, and we'll meet again in the national championship game." That would not surprise me. Yeah, SEC pride. Yeah, well, I will now root against all SEC schools,
except for Tennessee. What? Except for Tennessee, I can't root against Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee hasn't been relevant in a while.
We just won a national title. Yeah, I was so in that Twitter space, the fire Mike Norvell. So Big Cat got in. They cut him off. because he was basically telling them what things they didn't want to hear, like how they should have hired Dion. But then I got in, and I was actually going to say my piece, and Big Cat came running over, and he hopped on. They cut me off because I was letting Big Cat speak.
Did you see what they did? You see what they did? They had like the Big Cat threw when they threw Big Cat out, and they had like Big Cat standing behind him again.
Yeah, with the Simpson, the Moe's throwing Barney out.
Yeah,
threw him out, and then as soon as he's not even back turned around, he's still back in the space. Yeah, Big Cat went on like this. I don't know, this ordeal where he was just hopping from Twitter space to Twitter space. He was blaming the vaccine on his betting losses. He was in a QAnon. I don't know if this is a blip or if Twitter Spaces is now a thing again. We'll see. But
QAnon is just tongue in cheek. There's nothing serious about QAnon.
So here's the thing, and this is how a lot of things are, and I think Barstool might have the same issue where like it starts out as a joke. And a lot of people join it as a joke, but then it gets so big, and most people are in on the joke. Most people get the joke, but then there's other people who see it and are true believers, and they hop in, and it starts to create this people lose the joke.
I mean, I talked about how I wanted to see progress from the Devils. I got to say that. Tua Tagovailoa has shown a lot of good progress. He's an accurate passer. He may not have the best arm, but he also has hardly any time to throw the ball. The offensive line's been very bad all season for the Dolphins, and that's why they've won 5 in a row. Is Tua's played terrific football. He's getting the ball down. He's getting the ball to people. Doesn't have that many turnovers and when you have an offensive line as porous as the Dolphins, and that Tua's actually performed like he had 2 straight games of 80% completions.
Yeah.
He had 75 in his last game. And that was with a few drops. So Tua has shown something, and I don't think it's coincidence that he started playing well after the trade deadline and the Deshaun Watson nonsense went away. Now, and so the Dolphins are now in a position where they can move forward Tua, but if Deshaun Watson clears his name, they could get him, but don't break the bank for him now. They can say, okay, we got a quarterback here that looks like he's halfway decent.
Yeah, and listen, you don't have to throw the long ball, If you can be competent in throwing it, 15, 20 yards here and there, it's fine.
The problem with Tua is, and my father's always said this about this, Tua right now is the only left-handed quarterback in the NFL, and there's and Boomer Esiason even says it. There's a bias against left-handed quarterbacks.
As far as the line, or you mean as far as like their offensive linemen being able to protect them?
No, that teams don't like left-handed quarterbacks because of how they throw the ball.
Because they throw with their left hand?
Yeah.
How does the bias come out? Like, how is it?
That basically everyone they have to reverse their offensive line. Is the first thing they have.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. So they don't want to deal with an offense. They don't want to deal with having to have a right tackle, like a good right tackle for the blind side.
Yeah. Now instead of a left tackle, they need a right tackle.
Yeah,
I mean that doesn't mean anything, but the ball spins differently. It's thrown differently, and if you look, there's only 3 left-handed quarterbacks. There's only 2 left-handed quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. There's only been what?
Mark Brunell, and who else?
Kenny Stabler and Steve Young.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years, you could almost count on your hand the number of big left-handed quarterbacks that have been in the NFL. Boomer Esiason had a couple of big years.
Yeah. I think, that might just be law of averages. How many left-handers are there in the world anyway? 10%?
Might be about 20%. Although,
Really?
or-
1 in 5
well, maybe
people are left-handed?
it's because of my family. I have a lot of left-handers in my family.
It's just that's part of the Fleming bloodline.
My grandmother, on my grandmother, my Italian grandmother, was left-handed, and when she was in school, she went to Catholic school. If the nuns caught her writing with her left hand, they smashed her hand with a ruler.
Like they forced left-handed kids to write right-handed.
Yeah. My father basically.
Was it evil to was I mean was it
And
evil?
this was something that was done up until like the 50s and 60s. My father says that my grandmother didn't send him to public schools because she didn't want him going through the same shit with the left-handed writing. And my father is, you know how I'm not comfortable driving. My father's even worse than me
Yeah.
in driving, and he says that he hates driving because the cars are all made to screw over left-handers.
So your father would be a great driver. Your father would be an F1 driver in Europe. Going down the Autobahn, your father would go 180 kilometers an hour, no problem on the
I
Autobahn.
mean, he talks about how that all scissors are screwed against left-handers.
Mm-hmm.
He hates computers because all computers are made for right-handers.
I mean, they have. There's a point there. There's a point there, but I don't know how much.
But yeah, now here's an interesting thing: a lot of presidents are left-handed.
Really? You mean when you say a lot, you mean like more than you would expect?
What do you expect?
More than the average.
Let me look up the left-handed presidents. I think we've had a lot of left-handed presidents recently too. Let me see. Let me see. How many presidents have been left-handed? Yeah, a lot left, especially recently.
Yeah.
Yep, there's 8 presidents who have been left-handed, and almost all of them are recent. Reagan, Papa Bush,
Reagan
Clinton.
was left-handed.
Yep. Barack Obama, left-handed. Gerald Ford, left-handed. Harry Truman, left-handed. 6 of the last 12 presidents, as of up to Clinton, up to Obama, were left-handed.
Well, there you go.
And you're right about 10% of the population. So when I say a lot of presidents were left-handed,
that is.
Was Trump left-handed? I thought Trump might have been left-handed too.
Well, it's definitely. I mean, that's you're saying 50% of the population or 50% of the past 12 presidents. It's a lot more than 10%. They're definitely over that size.
But yeah, there's been a lot of presidents who have been left-handed, especially when you talk about just 10% of the population.
Yeah, they left-handers are overrepresented when it comes to.
All right, okay, Trump is a right-hander, and I think Biden's right-handed. But I mean, that's a lot of presidents who have been left-handed.
Yeah.
And recent presidents.
There you go. Well, I mean that's crazy. That I think I knew that from listening to a left-handed comedian, but the idea that
I knew Bush, Clinton, and Obama for sure were left-handed. I just wanted to look them up, all of them.
Yeah. The idea that a nun would like smack you if you were writing with your left hand. But I think, like you said, it was the 50s and 60s. I mean, they were doing lobotomies. Like we think about, these crazy medieval, procedures and everything. They were lobotomizing people in the 50s and 60s.
But yeah, my dad. I talked to a lawyer that I used to work with at the courthouse who was left-handed. Says that she talked about when she was in school, the nuns hit her with would smack her hand because she was left-handed.
I mean, you might be able to share some information on this. Why is that? Why do they not want kids writing with their left hand?
Some people believe that the left-handed is a sign of the devil.
So I mean, why even have left hand?
I mean,
I mean,
but
that's
it's something that thankfully doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, we talk about child abuse now and how things are differently. I mean, that's legitimate child abuse. I mean, the
left
kid is
hand.
born left-handed. It's a gene that causes them to be left-handed.
Yeah,
It's not like this. They were 2 years old and decided to go. I am going to write with my left hand.
yeah.
No,
No,
and
nobody would choose that.
yeah, and another thing is, the disadvantage of left-handed is if you're writing and then it
Yeah.
like smears the ink too. My father always had like the
You got to learn how to write backwards.
yeah.
Well, it's been a crazy week in sports. The bowl season is finally here. We've got a lot of stuff planned. My Illinois trip has changed. I'm now going to Oklahoma in mid-January.
Would the
Apparently,
wind come? Would the wind come sweeping down the plains?
I believe so. Oklahoma. Yeah. So I'm going to Oklahoma. Apparently, and this goes back to when I asked you if we've reached if we're nearing the peak cold season, and you laughed in my face, and it's been 70 degrees in New York City for the past week. But apparently the ducks are not in Illinois right now because of the temperature. They're just only geese are up there. But I want to shoot some ducks. So I'm going to Oklahoma. But that's mid-January. Before that, you and I are taking a little trip up north to Utica and Adirondack. I'm pretty excited for that. We'll see a Devils game here on Thursday night, right?
Yeah, we'll go. We're gonna go Devils, Adirondack, Utica. We're gonna go visit the whole farm system.
Yeah.
Maybe see some better players that are actually playing in New Jersey right now.
That'll be fun. And I recently heard that Biz is going to be going to like a Solar Bears game, the Orlando Solar Bears. I can't remember when. I think he's going to a game in January. If we can get a listen, I love minor league sports. I enjoyed going to do like first pitches at minor league baseball games. If we can get going a minor league hockey tour, I'd be all about it.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
I'd be all about it.
There's one that we could go. Well, that's not too far from us. Is the Penguins affiliate?
Who are they?
Wilkes-Barre.
What's their name?
Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Oh, they're still the Penguins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's where the Rail Riders are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So the only
way I'll see a Rail Riders game is if they're playing Syracuse.
Screw
the Rail Riders.
Well, we'll see about that. But I'm excited, and I'm like I said,
next year when baseball season comes around again, we definitely should hit some more minor league spots.
Absolutely.
I know the Jersey Jackals would love to have you out there on my old college campus. You get to. I've been to a game at Florida State. Now you should get to see Montclair State.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that. And obviously, we're going to continue your major league tour, where we're going to be. You're going to be out there trying hot dogs, and all.
Yep.
We hit up a good amount of major league teams. We had like 10 or so, maybe 7.
Like 8 last year, I believe.
Yeah, and so I mean, we might be able to finish off the whole major league next season.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we definitely have to hit Philadelphia and Washington.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But
what I want to do with Washington is go see an entire series of the Mets in Washington.
Yeah.
Go watch baseball at night, Smithsonian, and the sights of Washington in the day.
I'm down for that. I'm absolutely down for that. By then, I may have shaved this beard off. I've been growing this beard out for the duck hunting. You're growing your beard out because until the Dolphins lose, you're growing it out. The mustache is coming in nicely. See, you have this patch covered for the most part. I have this little area that just doesn't grow.
This is the first time I've had that area grow on me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, so people on Twitter were saying our beards are looking good. Even if the Dolphins lose, I think we we might just go ahead and keep them growing. By
No.
next season, we could have a band.
Maybe I'll go with a goatee.
I'd rather you just shave it all off. Don't even worry about the goatee.
Because it's not fun. It itches. It bothers me.
Well, no, okay. Well, I have never had that. I don't. There is an itching phase apparently. I don't have that. You know what? And there are no free ads or anything. You might just need a good beard oil. I guess I'll bring down some beard oil today. It's there. I've got a couple different versions. I've got some vanilla beard oil. It smells like vanilla. It doesn't taste like vanilla, but it smells like vanilla. And then there's some sandalwood from the Everyman Jack. Again, no free ads, but it's a pretty good beard oil. We'll get you past that itching phase, because once you get past that itching phase, there's no problem. It just keeps growing. Well, either way, I hope the Dolphins continue to win, so you grow up the beard. And yeah, Frank, you've got your little Frank Christmas music coming out, right, with Mikey Betts?
Yeah, the first one dropped today.
First one dropped to Dominic the Donkey.
Dominic the Donkey.
And so you've got some songs coming out. What else you got going on?
Well, after Christmas, I'll be heading over to the Arizona Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun.
So just Christmas, cooking Christmas dinner. I'm getting out my Christmas cards the next day or two. I'm going to try to get my packages out tomorrow too. So I got to wrap gifts tonight after I go shopping tonight. So lots of fun.
Let's do it. Let's have a great.
And of course, we got many episodes of Sopranos to catch up on, and maybe watch a Christmas movie here and there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Sopranos. I've started watching. Frank has HBO Go. He has allowed me into his home. We've been watching Sopranos episodes. I was hooked on episode 1. I obviously got to love Tony. I love Tony. I hate his mother. I hate Tony. Tony won't say it. Tony won't say that he hates his mother. I hate his mother. I think this just goes the same way with like the Lannisters or like Draco Malfoy. Anytime there's when you hate a character, I think that just says how good the actor or actress is.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like it's where I hate that character so much, which just means that performer is doing it so well.
I think she actually might have won an Emmy. I'm not 100% sure.
It was just, it's one of those things where it's like, I hate him, but at the same time, I can't split that in half. Like I hate that. I hate the character so much, but I'm hooked on The Sopranos. Once I finish season 1, I'll definitely write a blog with Glennie's approval. Hopefully, I'll be doing some Sopranos.
Here it is.
Like 10 years later. Some Sopranos summary blogs.
She did. She did not win it. Okay, I just looked it up. She was nominated for it. Oh no, she did. She was nominated for it, but she didn't win an Emmy. But she actually won a Golden Globe.
Really?
For the role.
Well, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the Naked Gun movies?
I've seen at least the first one, but I don't really recall them. I was a kid when they came out.
She actually was in the first Naked Gun movie.
All right. Well, we'll have to watch that too.
She played the mayor in the Naked Gun.
Well, we'll have to watch that. We got a lot of stuff to do, Frank. I'm glad to be in Jersey finally. Unfortunately, my Tahoe needs a new engine. That's a whole other story for another day. But as of right now, I'm in Jersey, watching Sopranos, going to restaurants with Jersey Jerry and Frank the Tank, just a Jersey boy, going to Devils games.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. We've got a lot of stuff planned. That's Barstool Units. Frank, please take us out.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Oh.